Hello folks, I told you that I would make a little video about how to add something to your Photoshop file. We just talked about change and there's a change video. I'm going to do an add one and I'm going to do a delete one. So when you work on assignment one, change, add, delete, you've got videos for all three of them. Let's do the add one. I'm just going to share my screen here and you can see what it is that I am doing. So here we are. Here's our room. We made the changes already to add in to change that back wall to something like this. Fine. Now what I want to do is put something in this room that's going to wake it up. So what I'm going to do is get another image from somewhere and bring that in. I went to Google and I looked up unicorn plushie because I think that's what this room really needs, is something kind of fun in it. And I found this website, High Clip Art, which is like, for the purposes of this project, of this assignment, you don't have to worry about where you got it. You can just go grab something. So, but watch out for these websites because right now I've got so many buttons that I could click. Start now. Doesn't start this. It gets free stationery templates. What I want is this little hidden button right here, download original PNG file. The reason I looked for a PNG file, as you probably know, is that it comes with, I can change the name of that and save it where I want it to go. I've already done that. And of course, they want you to look at hydrating emulsion. That's why they make you go through this process. So what I did was open that file up. Now, as you know, a PNG file is transparent in the background, which means that I don't have to close crop this unicorn. I don't have to cut it out of the background. It doesn't have a background. So if I simply select all, Command A, Command C, copy, and then when I go here, Command V, paste, it'll drop that right into my room. By the way, every time I say Command on a Macintosh, you PC users, you hear Control. Every time I say Option, you're going to want to click the Alt key on your PCs. But other than that, same animal. The cool thing is that Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign, for the most part, work the same on both platforms. You might find yourself saying, yeah, it works mostly the same except for the typefaces. But anyway, we can fight about that later. So if I just paste right now, Command V or Control V on a PC, there's my plushie unicorn, no background. But it's way too big. I want to resize it. Command T or Control T will give me my free transform tool. So I can grab that corner and shrink it. By the way, in Illustrator, you have to hold down the Shift key to make sure that it doesn't wreck the proportions. Not so much in Photoshop. If I hold down the Shift key, then I can wreck the proportions. Don't do that. So I'm going to shrink this guy, put him, probably a girl. Don't you think? It's probably a girl. Probably a girl unicorn. I don't think she's a guy unicorn. Although, you know, hey, whatever. Love is love. I kind of like to modify this a little bit because I find that it looks a little too forward facing. So what I can do is hold down the Command key and I can grab that corner right there and change the proportions and also the angle. And I can even grab that bottom corner and stretch it a little bit. So you can see you can really wreck it, but you can also just kind of very subtly tweak it a little bit so that it looks a little more plausible. Hit return, there it is. So again, you're probably going to say, yeah, but it doesn't look like it's really there. You're right. So what we're going to have to do is kind of set it on there in a way that makes it look like it's really there. Three things I would say are different about this plushie unicorn than the background. Number one, the lighting's different. Number two, the focus is different. It's sharper. And number three, it's not casting a shadow anywhere in this room. So let's fix those three things. If I want to change the lighting, I can get into adjustments, levels. I can also change brightness and contrast. I like levels because I get a lot of control. So here's my controls. That's the darkest parts of the unicorn. That's the lightest parts of the unicorn. Command L, by the way, gets you into this menu. And then the mid-range, I can just do that and turn that down. So it looks like the lighting that's on that unicorn is about the same as it is in the image itself. And then you've got things like here you can say I don't want anything brighter than this to be in there. So it's a little bit gloomier. Let's turn that brightness down a little bit. There we go. So now it's not as exciting, but it looks more plausible. There's also a problem with focus, that it's just a lot sharper than what you see in the background. Look at the size of the edge of that table versus this. So we want to blur that a little bit. So I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, and then I'm going to pick Gaussian Blur. You see I've got blur more. Blur more than what? So I like to use Gaussian blur because I can pick an exact number. Radius, 1 pixel. Now let's go 0.5 pixels. What does it look like? And it will show you that, what it really looks like. And if I said, well, what about 7 pixels? Wow, it's smush. So you can see very quickly how that's working for you and pick a blur that's about the same as what you got in your image that makes it look like it's actually there. Okie dokie. Now, the last thing I want to do is paint a shadow in here that makes it look like it's actually there. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer. First, I got to put myself over here somewhere and pick New Layer, Shore. On layer 4, what I want to do is I'm going to just grab the lasso tool and I'm going to draw the shape of what I think the shadow of this unicorn would look like on this bed. So if the lighting were falling on that, it would be about like that. But it's too sharp right now, right? That's a hard edge selection. I don't want it to be hard edge. I want it to be soft edge. Select, modify, feather. We talked about this morning. Let's try 30 pixels. Okie dokie. Then I can paint with a black brush with a relatively low opacity, 40%, and a pretty good sized brush because I want it to be big and soft. A big soft brush. And you can see I'm getting kind of a nice little effect there, and I can keep adding a little bit to it until I'm pretty happy with the way that works. But it's got 2 problems. 1, it's opaque. Number 2, it's on top of the horse. So let's grab layer 4, pull it down under layer 3. Now my horse is on top of it. And I'm also going to make that multiply. So the shadow now is underneath the horse on the bed, and it kind of looks like it's really there. So that's your ad. I hope that helps. I will stop sharing and I will talk to you guys soon about how to delete. Bye.